Thank you for clicking on my video. I'm going to bet that this is not the first video you've seen today, that it won't be the last, and that in this mix of videos you watch, there will be at least one with an adorable, vulnerable animal and a human who is kind to it. And if you enjoy those animal rescue videos, then say thank you to Anna Sewell, author of Black Beauty. She was not the first author to anthropomorphize animals, but she was definitely the writer who took it the furthest it could go. It was Sewell who pioneered the sympathetic animal protagonist. Black Beauty is a human in everything but species. What do I mean by this? I mean that Black Beauty, our titular character, has thoughts, he has feelings, he has a loving mother who gives him wise advice. And when he takes that advice to heart, he is elevated even more. His thoughts become high-mindedness, and his feelings become nobleness of heart. It's very easy to fall in love with the Black Beauty as a character, and that is all by design. It's exactly what Anna Sewell intended. Sewell wrote this novel in the hope that it would make people more understanding towards horses, kinder, more empathetic, and it was actually pretty darn effective. In its own field, Black Beauty ranks alongside Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe or Noli Me Tangere by Jose Rizal. So many people in England protested the abysmal working conditions of horses because they had read Black Beauty that American welfare organizations started getting their own copies and handing them out to anyone who had a horse. It was the late 19th century equivalent of the animal rescue videos that are so popular today. And frankly, the Dodo wishes it had this impact. Now, I am totally on board with Sewell's thesis that we ought to be kind to animals. I even agree that animals, especially the higher order of animals, have inner lives of their own, ideas and affections that are as personal to them as ours are to us. But seeing the pipeline from Black Beauty to today's animal videos makes me wonder whether Sewell actually took the anthropomorphism a little too far. When doing research on the impact of Black Beauty, I found an article written by someone who was a bit critical of Sewell's presentation. And this was someone who actually works with horses today. I really wish I could find that article again. If I do, I will link it. What he criticized was Sewell's opinion on blinkers or blinders on horses. He's referring to a scene in which the horses in a stable are conversing, and it starts with the condemnation of fashion and aesthetics, which are actually cruel to animals. And the example given was the docking of dogs' tails and ears. You know, we start with this mutilation and suddenly blinkers come up. It's a bit of a non sequitur. And when I reread the chapter, I saw how forced it was. Basically, the animals had become uncomfortable talking about human cruelty in docking the tails and ears of dogs, that someone decided to change the subject by saying, hey, let's talk about blinkers instead. It's very awkward and, as I said, very forced. And the blinkers were also presented as a form of cruelty to animals. The horses with experience wearing blinkers even say that it leads to accidents, it leads to injuries, or even death for horses who have their vision obstructed. Well, the author of the article disagreed. He said, if you think blinkers or blinders are cruel and inhumane, that is because they would absolutely be cruel and inhumane if you put them on a human being. If you insisted that a human being doing manual labor would have to wear them in order to do his or her job, then yes, it would be very abusive. But it's actually not abusive when it comes to horses, and it does the opposite of what Sewell says it does. It actually keeps horses safer. So this is one instance in which humanizing an animal too much actually may end up hurting the animal. And we, in our own animal rescue media, do another form of humanizing that I think is a little more blatant, and that maybe Anna Sewell herself would have looked askance at, which is the trend of pet owners referring to themselves as fur parents. One is no longer the owner of a dog or a cat. One is a dog dad or a cat mom. We use the word adoption when referring to taking a pet home from a shelter, and we've started putting animals in clothes and buying toys for them to play with. And I'm not saying that these are bad things, but I do wonder whether this blurring of the lines between domesticated animals and human children is, like the humanization of Black Beauty, something that was done entirely by design. Before I continue, I want to say that I really like Black Beauty as a character, and I enjoyed revisiting this classic from my childhood. But it really did not escape my notice that this is a very manipulative book. We might even fairly call it propaganda. Anna Sewell knows how to tug at the heartstrings. She gives it her all, and there is no better testament to her effectiveness than the legacy of Black Beauty in animal welfare. And well, that's such a good legacy that it's hard for me to be angry about it. And that's the main reason I am not as turned off as I otherwise would be. But seeing the pipeline from Black Beauty to our own animal rescue or animal welfare media, and noticing how the latter have changed the way that we talk about animals, means that I'm going to be more critical going forward of the portrayal of animals in fiction and the portrayal of animals in journalism. If you liked this video essay, please come back later this week when I post my review of Black Beauty. And if you like horses in fiction, I audaciously suggest that you subscribe because I will be reading more horse books going forward as part of my Year of the Fire Horse reading challenge. For this challenge, I choose novels in which horses play a big role, either as a character or as something important to the plot or the themes. And at the end of this challenge, I will have a comprehensive video essay on how we tend to depict horses in our fiction.